It's never dull being England manager, Damien. How do you think he's handled it?
I think he's handled it brilliantly. He's handled it perfectly. You know, there would have been the temptation maybe to go over the top and kind of exclude him from future England camps. But it's worth bearing in mind that they are two young lads and they've made a mistake, and they're paying or they're going to pay the price, both financially when they go back to their clubs and the damage they've done to their reputation as well. But look, they're not the first young kids to make a mistake, and they sure as hell won't be the last. So it's important that they take their medicine and they move on. But they're two fabulous young players. In their defence, it's probably a little bit different, certainly in Niall's time and probably in my time as well, where, you know, if you were going to do something like this, you had to leave the hotel. I think the players have a social media presence, and sometimes, you know, it finds you, you know, and while they were behaving themselves sitting in their hotel room, you know, on social media or whatever they had, sometimes things come up. And that's where they've made the mistake, and it is a big mistake, but they're paying the price.
In terms of the modern player, and there's been some in the English press saying he should have been harder, he should have condemned it a lot more. This is a very serious thing in the current climate, and he's been a little bit wishy-washy, a little bit too Mr. Nice Guy. Is that the modern way of managers, that they can't be seen to come down that hard?
Look, my last 5 years, I think there was definitely a big shift in the way managers dealt with players. The days of shouting and roaring and coming down hard on players are gone because, you know, without being too critical of younger players, they didn't take that well, you know, and there's a danger that you could lose them for a long time or you could send them back to their clubs. You know, they're going to get an awful lot of criticism publicly and from the media and on social media. The managers dealt with it perfectly for me. I think it's just about the right amount. Obviously, they had to send him home because of the pandemic that we're in at the minute. But I think the manager's done a fabulous job.
What do you think, Niall?
Well, I think Damien's right. In my time, curfews were to be broken, and I was pretty good at it. So I'm not probably best served to preach on this. They're young players. They've had superstardom thrown at them so young in their lives, and they've made a mistake. They're very naive to make that mistake, and you know, it set a real problem for the manager. And I can remember back in my day, I was trying to think back of times when something like this happened. I can remember, I think it was when the England players were caught out drinking one night, and the manager, I think it might have been Glenn Hoddle, paraded them all out to apologise to the press, and I think neither player kicked a ball in earnest properly for them ever again, and it kind of made it worse. So I think dealing with it, you know, the way he did, which was quick, precise, you know, dealt with it. But I think he also left a line of support in for the two players as well. I don't think he threw them, you know, to the cleaners. I think it was skillful in that the players are full of remorse and they can have no bones at anything that comes their way now, but they can bounce back. I think.
Well, should he? Because one of the Henry Winter, who's kind of one of the senior football journalists in the UK, writing in the Times today, said Southgate should, yes, of course, be understanding. They're only kids, they're naive, but he should lead them out of the next international squad in October as setting a marker for behaviour standards around the squad.
It could be that that's what he does, and I think that wouldn't be a stretch too far. You know, I think the players are going to have to fight hard and rebuilding their reputation, not just on how they play, but how they're seen to be as sort of models for other people to look at. I think they'll understand an awful lot more now about what the world thinks of them, and they have to turn that around and say, okay, I've got to make up for this. And some people come back from an incident like this really strongly, and they get better and they learn from it. I hope that's what they do. But I've seen one or two in the past, you know, it got to them and their careers didn't quite take off. But these two are so skillful, as I say, they're superstars. So they've got to get their head right, come back, always be apologetic for what happened.
What do you think, Damien, on that last one?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's necessary, because there's a disciplinary problem in the English team. They're two young lads. If it was, say, Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane, then you might say, hold on a minute, you guys have kind of should know better, and you guys have you know, made a decision to break curfew or break the rules. But the two young boys, they don't deserve to have their England career condemned over this, you know.